So don't you love it when somebody representing a giant brand, when I say giant brand, I want to make this very clear. I'm talking about a YouTube brand with over 1.29 million subscribers behind them. I would say that's a pretty big brand, no? But don't you love it when said representative of that giant brand, they decide they're going to go out, they decide they're going to disparage smaller YouTube channels, but oh, they're not going to stop there. Oh no, not by a long shot. What they're going to do is they're going to attach certain words to those channels too. Words like hate, which are bad enough, but then they're going to attach something else. They're going to attach alt-right culture war, knowing the damage that can do. Now, what's even more interesting is said representative adding those cancel culture labels. Yeah, the thing that they rep, they're guilty of the very things they're calling hateful and alt-right. It would be a shame when you're hurling those rocks and you're hitting that glass house to actually cancel the very thing that you represent, wouldn't it? I mean, fun times there, huh? Fun times indeed. So hey there, to all you fine folks on this fine day. So the person that we're talking about today, this is one Jack Packard. And by the way, there is no reason whatsoever to interact with these folks. In fact, they love to take their bully pulpit, they love to take the thing that they're harassing and trying to cancel people with and say that the blowback that they get from it, well, that proves that people should have been canceled. You know, because people don't enjoy being canceled, hey, that proves that you should have canceled them all along. But Jack Packard here, he tells you in no uncertain terms that he represents red letter media. That it's going to come up in just a moment. But I'm that guy on red letter media's best of the worst. So, fifth word in. I'm that guy on red letter media. So he's telling you he represents that brand. And he names other brands as well. I haven't looked into them. Don't really care about them. But I knew red letter media. And it works into what I'm talking about here. So he brings this up. Look at this first statement. And there are other statements as well. Most of us assumed that there wasn't a real quote-unquote huge divide about The Last Jedi. But to see it broken down like this. Clear timeline. I'm going to show you that clear timeline in just a second, by the way, because I've worked with schizophrenics, and I'm going to tell you that their clear timeline, yeah, it sounds like something that would get you medication. Proper citation, really? Have you not looked at any real papers? I wonder about these people sometimes. Statistical analysis. I can sit there and bang two sticks together and tell you that I'm doing statistical work. That doesn't mean anything at all, but hey, you know, linking the alt-right's culture war to Star Wars hate as a gateway drug. Terrifying. Terrifying indeed. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time focusing on the article that he's sharing, but I do want to point out things like this. This is the timeline that he's telling. Oh, such a good timeline, right? Timeline of outrage media. This thing, to make its conspiracy work, it starts October 14th, 1984. It starts with Rush Limbaugh and radio shows. It works through the ages. We haven't even got to the computer age yet, but you got to throw all of this in to make the conspiracy work, and it rolls all the way into Gamergate. Gamergate gets a lot of press in this, by the way. Of course it does. And then, of course, after a lot of time, you're going to have the new Gamergate, the rise of the alt-right ideology in Star Wars fandom. Now, as I've said previously, I've worked with the extremely mentally ill, people that are too sick to live in society. And this stuff, it reeks of a duplicitous nature, but it also reeks of obsession. It reeks of sickness. I mean, you're looking at somebody that thinks there's an alt-right conspiracy because people, they don't like Star Wars. When you look at the way that they're taking aim here too, the intent is very clear. They want to do damage, and they want to damage a lot of channels. Not all of them are listed here. You have Nerdrotic. You have Comic Artist Pro Secrets. They actually struck Comic Artist Pro Secrets. You have Geeks and Gamers, Midnight's Edge, Jar Jar Abrams, Clownfish TV, World Class BSers, SC Reviews, RK Outpost, That Star Wars Girl. You also have people like Yellow Flash 2 that have been aimed at. You have myself. And this stuff, it goes on and on and on. You see the labels, you know what they want to do. And folks like this, they are A-OK with throwing around this conspiratorial nonsense. They're okay with throwing around those labels as long as it's not happening to them. Now, Jack has a few more things to say, and we'll look at that in just a moment. But before we do, I want to point this out because I think it's really, really funny. He's unintentionally throwing red letter media under those proverbial bus tires. Why? Because when you look at a lot of their videos here, yeah, they've made fun of the same things too. Oh my God, does that make them monsters? Of course. And you know what? I'm subscribed here. Does that mean I've gone down the rabbit hole and I'm seeing some alt-right media? Or maybe, does it mean you're allowed to have personal preference? I wonder. Maybe he could answer that. Now, Jack, for his part, he answers 3 questions. And these 3 questions here, I want to point out especially this one. I mean, this one, it pretty much tells you in no uncertain terms what alt-right means to him. But again, when you're looking at the praise for that article, like I said, the unintentional throwing yourself under the bus, that's pretty hilarious to me. But he says, I think the article has 2 interesting points. Number 1, and this tells you, by the way, that he doesn't understand statistical analysis, that demonstrably the praise outweighed the hate by 2 to 1, while we all had a feeling that being equally divided. You know what? 1 to 1 does not mean something is controversial. They told you that. Where did they pull that out of? Well, they said it was, so it was. They also assigned all of these rules, saying, hey, this makes something positive, this makes something negative. They left out all kinds of variables. They don't control for anything. They went out with the intent to prove something. And you know what? They proved it. That, it's not science. That right there, it's confirming bias. The second thing, and he loves this word here, that some alt-right associated sites have jumped on hating it, and the algorithm can spiral viewers deeper into alt-right. Again, are you talking about red letter media in that? Is that one of those? Because those people, they define folks that say, hey, I'm a liberal. I hate politics. They define them as alt-right. Do you go with that? Do I get to call you alt-right? Is that how it works if you talk about it? Again, they don't want to say that, but then he goes into this. This is another answer to another question. That being said, there is no absolute connection or causation between not liking the movie and being alt-right, nor is any supposed by the article. Oh, very much so. That's why they tar and feather people, because they say in no uncertain terms, these channels here are alt-right. Why? Well, because I say so. Not because they say so, because I say so. People like Clownfish TV, they tell you, hey, I voted liberal all of this time, doesn't matter. You're alt-right. People like myself get called that too. I have a mental health background, educational background. I hate politics, but hey, somehow, in some way, that gets me tarred and feathered too. There is some correlation between YouTubers using that hate, though. And then here's my favorite. I think conservative leaning versus alt-right is a bit splitting hairs. As much like genres, interpretation is mostly about perception, which gets into a philosophical realm that I'm not equipped to discuss. So that's splitting hairs because, hey, it's interpretation, right? So I can go in and I can say your channel is alt-right. If I interpret it that way, you're not equipped to discuss that in his philosophical realm. That makes it real. I swear, there's more and more of this stuff coming up. People treat this like they know something. And the danger about it, again, they're trying to cancel people. These people are allowing it to happen. And they should know better. They should know better, but they just don't care. Either that or they're complicit in it, and that's even worse when you get down to it. Again, I'm subscribed to Red Letter Media. That's the most disgusting part of it. I like that channel, but you know what? I mean, it's just another chapter in the, hey, you should know better. Basically, I know what certain people stand for. I know that they're out there. They're wanting better products. They're trying to enjoy themselves, and that's that. And this stuff here, this has got to go. This is hate. This is bullying. This is harassment. This is what it looks like. But these people, they treat it like they're not. Oh, it disgusts me. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. And as always, always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff possible. These folks, they forget it all the time. And hey, we'll be it unto them. You want to help the channel out? There are links in the description. Check those out for sure. And yeah, I'm going to end here. Appreciate you folks.